I'm coming from the security side of the house. So having been originally the founder of a security startup called Balabit, and now a security startup called Axoflow. So we live in the time of the AI, and I mean, AI is becoming mainstream. My kid is using it to prep his homework, so I sometimes need to tell him not to do that, and he doesn't understand. So it is becoming mainstream. Everyone starts using it, but and we discussed a lot about how it can affect society, how it can help us going forward, and what the risks are, and what we need to take care about. I'm going to look a bit under the hood of AI and cybersecurity a bit, how we manage data flows and how we need to make sure that the data that gets incorporated into AI models or even cybersecurity decisions are actually good data. So let me introduce you to a data infrastructure, a data platform that is usually deployed at large organizations, enterprises, how they take care about their security. And with that example, let me give you one important trap, or let me give you one potential threat that you should avoid when building such an infrastructure. So, yeah, well, security detection and response, or security monitoring, is one of the key processes in any highly regulated organization, and maybe starting to become important even for non-regulated ones. I mean, we imagine security tools being firewalls. They gate traffic, they stop attackers coming in, but in reality, that's just part of the picture. Security monitoring is about trying to find things that our gates don't stop. So we collect data into a repository, we analyze that, we try to find incidents, and we respond to them. That's as simple as that. So what you see here, and this works, great. So what you see here on the right-hand side is a SOC, the Security Operations Center, which is basically the heart of a security monitoring process. You will find people here, usually layered into L1, 2, 3. Their role is to, detect, triage, identify, and then respond to incidents. And you'll find technology here as well. So usually an SIEM system, Security Incident and Event Management System, sits here. That's the OS, or the operating system of the SOC. And then you will find data sources. I'm not going into those, but you can imagine that there's a lot of security relevant data in any given enterprise. That's roughly on the scale of, tens of terabytes every day. Sometimes the retention is like 7 years. So if you just do the math, you will have petabytes of data in some repository here that you go and try to analyze to find those incidents. And I mean, in simple cases, what happens here? These people, they will write detections. They will write queries about against that database to find the incidents that we are looking for. I mean, those are the simple cases, but obviously sometimes they train models which are much more sophisticated, much more complex to create and maintain. But in all cases, the base, the foundation of these detections is the data that we collect. And when we start building a system like this, and be that cybersecurity or a data platform in general, there is a trap that we can easily fall into. And the trap is basically, let's assume we don't have anything, okay? So we don't have security monitoring, we don't have repositories, we just start. Obviously, you start by collecting data, right? So that's what you do. It's easy. I mean, I can easily give you a report that I'm very successful at collecting data. It goes up, and all the time. And this becomes a habit. Instead of going back to the data I already collected, I start collecting a new set of data because it's easier. So what happens is that there is this imbalance that data collection is leading the way, data analytics or trying to use the data is really falling behind. And if you do that continuously, so rinse and repeat, you end up with a swamp. I mean, a data swamp is, collection of data that you were collecting tirelessly. And, I mentioned tens of terabytes every day, potentially going into the years of retention. That's petabytes of data. And if you do that without forethought, you do that without a strategy, you do that without governance, most of the data will be unused completely. So we will see data repositories, especially in cybersecurity, in SOCs, that over 90% of the data is never used. And also because of change, this is a changing environment, the data formats change all the time. Even if you try using them, you end up with broken detections. And basically, there is only one way to prevent that. And that's relatively simple, but easier said than done. You need to enact a strategy. You need to find a way to prevent the data swamps from forming, because in any other case, you will end up in that situation. And by the way, swamps are expensive. So you have to pay for storage, you have to pay for tools. And literally, I've seen companies paying millions of dollars every year to keep up with their swamps, and the extracting value is relatively limited. Anyway, I set goals. Yeah, that's easy, but you have to be able to associate or answer the question for any given data point is, why am I collecting this? Is there a reason? Some cases there are, some cases there are not, but the point is that you have to establish these rules in advance. Raw data collection, zero value. Except if you do compliance, which you sometimes need to do. But that's so there are cheaper solutions for those cases. Point is that if you cannot answer the question why you collect data in the first place, then you probably shouldn't. And basically, you need a set of tools. Sometimes, we call this data curation. We are curating the data as it is ingested. Other people call it data engineering. We look at data, try to find if they match a certain criteria. If they don't, they drop it. If it does, then it's being delivered and being used, and that's the connecting element there. So, one last piece here, data cleansing. I think that's the single most important thing that you need to do with data to avoid becoming data swamps. And if you look at our previous picture, so I had the SOC example on the right-hand side and the SIEM system there, and also the data sources. Sometimes it's relatively difficult to start doing data engineering or data curation practices, but fortunately, in the case of security, that's relatively easy. You just slot in something like our product, a security data curation pipeline, but and then you can start, looking into visualizing the data flows before they get ingested, and you just become relentless. You drop everything you don't need, and we'll start answering questions why you do need something, and yeah, the process basically starts. So having something like a pipeline there or a data engineering tool set in this process helps you in a number of ways. First and foremost, you reduce the volume. You're dropping stuff you don't need. Second, you can improve the data quality. Especially in security data. The formats are fragile, they're always changing, and there is a set of tools that can help you to improve that formatting. And also, if you use a next-gen pipeline like ours, it does have the intelligence incorporated to do this automatically. So Point being is that if you have a distributed data platform and you lack the tool set to establish proper data engineering and data governance in place, then you need to do something about it and find a tool set. This is probably not that interesting, but a few screenshots to show you how something like this looks like in a security setting. And well, my opening slide had, and I should have called it out, is that data is the new oil, question mark. I would say curated data is the new oil. Raw data is just worthless. Thank you very much.